Hey there, it's Lacy J here to ask you to go to spacebearmedia.com right now to access all our content, buy yourself some merch, and most importantly, send us a message. The latter of which we'll reply to on our newly revamped weekly pre-shows, where we have as many fun segments as we do on the audio pod. There are current events with Christy, corrections and observations with Ben, and as always, questions with Derek. Plus, I have new fun facts and tell a terrible fucking joke every single week. Please join us, and please consider rating and reviewing us on your favorite app or recommending us to a friend who loves Lost. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Lost in My 40s, Season 3, Episode 20. It's called The Man Behind the Curtain. It's a Ben Linus episode. It's a Christy episode. And back with us, special guest, Caleb. Yay! Welcome, Caleb.
Yay. Welcome back.
Thank you.
He's
Thank you.
waving
Hello,
for
children.
everyone.
Welcome back.
All right. We are very happy that we were able to talk you into coming back in Season 3. Ben, could you update us on our power rankings after episode 19 so we can shock the pants off Caleb, getting it all at once?
We have Sawyer still with his throbbing member from strangling his father.
Whoa.
First place at 115 points. Hurley and Juliet tied for second with 110 points each, and Desmond poaching the third slot with 75. And then the bottom was really no surprise to anyone. Dead Pants Danny with negative 90. Paolo Poopstick. Titus Pulo. Negative 80. And Anthony Cooper moving in to third spot with negative 59. C'est la vie, Charles Widmore.
Yep.
Any big shockers there, Caleb?
No, but I just happened to notice, I picked up on a trend in this episode that Ben just touched on. I don't want to get into it here necessarily, but we can talk about it later.
Okay. Yeah, if it were up to the three of us, other than and besides your wife, we'd have Ben Linus probably in the top, but she won't. She gives a mad score. So
she keeps holding the Ben down.
I know.
He can't get into the top three. It's been close.
Not a fan.
You're not a fan of the Ben.
I mean, I don't hate him like I hated Ana Lucia.
That's true.
That's completely uncalled for, Christy.
Oh my god.
She was a contributor to the island.
She dug a lot of holes.
She had a penchant for earth moving.
Christy, why don't you tell us all about Ben Linus's background?
I'm going to do that.
Okay.
So we start out in flashback number 1. The episode opens in a wooded area. A woman is screaming. A man screams back. Come on, damn it, push. The woman tries,
I thought
but
from the
she
side
knows...
that she looked like Libby.
Oh, okay.
Like she resembles her, the profile, not the front, but the profile, it resembled Libby to me when I saw it for some reason. Anyway.
So the woman tries pushing, but she knows that something is wrong. The man calls her Emily and encourages her to push. And when she does, it causes her to scream through her clenched teeth. He keeps, trying to encourage her, and eventually she gives birth, and the cries of a newborn babe can be heard. The man yells, "It's a boy! You did it!" And then Emily tells him it hurts as he wrapped the baby in his jacket and hands it to her. She calls him Roger, and again she says it hurts. Only this time Roger looks down and he realizes that she is bleeding.
Yikes.
He tells Emily that nobody knows that they're out here. She needs to hold the baby while he carries her back. So they make it to a clearing and then a road, and cars are driving past, and we see a street sign reading Portland, 32 miles.
Oh, so not the island. Interesting.
Right? So Roger
not
is...
in Portland either, obviously. Just outside.
No.
Right.
Roger is screaming and waving for help, and finally a red car with a couple inside stops. Roger tells the man that they were hiking. She wasn't due yet, but she went into labor anyway. Damn her.
Oh, yeah. That's her fault, definitely.
Totally her fault.
This is so her. This is so her.
I know.
Oh
It's
my
just
God.
totally like her. So Emily is screaming in pain, and Roger puts her down. As she's dying, she calls out to Roger, and he says, "I'm right here." And just before she closes her eyes and dies, she says, "Call him Benjamin."
What?
Right?
This is my origin story, y'all.
Excuse me? He wasn't born on the island?
Right?
Ben
So-
lied about something? I'm shocked.
Ben lying his ass off.
Oh.
Yeah. Maggie Lizer works.
Oh, boy.
So now we have present day Ben Linus sitting in his tent and looking at a doll. Richard Alpert enters. And
It's
Ben
an
tells him
action
that
figure.
So Ben tells him that the action figure was a birthday present, which happens to be today. Ben wonders if Richard remembers birthdays.
What?
Alpert ignores
It's a weird
him,
thing to
and
say.
he's like, should I bring the tape back to Juliet in the medical station? And Ben gets angry because he's like, I thought you took it yesterday. So he jumps up and runs out to ask Tom where the recorder was, and Tom doesn't answer because he's fixated on something coming towards the camp. Ben turns to see Locke carrying a body over his shoulder.
Oh, fuck. Here he comes.
carrying a third of a body. Like, he does not have his father over his shoulders.
No
way. It looked like they put a couple bags of dog food in a trash can. Like that, it did not look like a person.
Right.
Dog food in a trash can?
In a trash bag.
Oh, okay. All right.
Or maybe I said trash can. It's always possible.
Booth.
So Locke marches up and he says, "You said that if I killed my father, you'd tell me everything I wanted to know about the island." Ben stares as Locke dumps the body at his feet, and Locke says, "So why don't you start at the beginning?"
Oh, okay. Locke.
Right? And
All
we get the
right.
lost title screen.
This is badass, Locke.
Right
This is the
off
Locke
the
I
bat.
love.
Like, yeah, exactly. Locke is the cock of the walk now. Like, this is when he's fun. It's when he's heading towards his manic episode. He's like really, really fun. And then he just,
Oh, God. Caleb, are
Every
you
time.
a fan of Locke?
I go back and forwards. on him.
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I honestly want to say that in the grand scheme of things, I actually oscillate between he's kind of a useless character in the story entirely, and
Really?
him actually having a part to play. Yeah. Terry Quinn's performance as Locke is fantastic, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's pretty great. He won an Emmy for the episode we did earlier this season.
Did he?
Yeah. Why can't I remember? The Man from Tallahassee. He won an episode for The Man from Tallahassee. Or won an episode.
Good.
Won an Emmy while
Won an Emmy.
submitting that episode. I believe. If I'm wrong, you'll hear about it in next week's pre-show. But I'm pretty sure that was the episode. I know he won, and I'm pretty sure that was the episode. Yeah. Anyways, all right.
So now we see the lost title screen. Now we are back with Locke and Ben inside the tent, and Ben is pouring drinks. He says he wishes it was as simple as just opening a dusty book. He tries to hand Locke a drink, but Locke just stares at him, so Ben sets it down on the table. Ben says that John might think that Ben is the leader of the group, but that's not true. It's actually Jacob,
Who?
Oh.
right?
Well, all
Locke
your
says-
questions will be answered by the end of this episode. Definitely. Derek.
I mean, not all of his questions, but...
No, that was
Right.
totally sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. It created more questions.
Yeah.
So Locke says, "Okay, then, take me to Jacob." And Ben says he can't do that. So Locke gets up to leave.
Bye.
He's like, okay, I'll get Albert to take me to Jacob. And Ben tells Locke that he's the only one who speaks to Jacob and the only one who knows where he is.
That's convenient.
Yeah, I know,
isn't it?
right? He says, I was born here on this island. I'm one of the last that was. Most of these people you see, I brought them here. So Jacob talks to me, John. He tells me what to do, trusts me. Locke thinks that this sounds very convenient, that there is no Jacob, and that his people are idiots if they believe that. He says, you're the man behind the curtain, the Wizard of Oz, and you're a liar.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ben wants to know why John would say that, and Locke says, because if you were telling you the truth, your hand wouldn't be shaking.
Ah.
Whoa.
So Ben studies the glass in his hand.
I like when Locke tries to challenge Ben. It never works out exactly in Locke's favor, at least not yet.
No.
Yeah. He's almost
But
like
I
he's
still
almost like a little brother testing himself against a bigger brother. That's kind of what it feels like.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
an interesting way to look at it. Yeah.
So, flashback number 2. We have an 8-year-old Ben Linus walking down a jetty from the submarine with his father as they arrive on the island with a number of other people.
It's pretty good casting, the kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. That's how I would picture Ben. Just a scrawny little kid with his goofy glasses on.
Yeah, they did well.
I hate that kid so much.
You hate him?
I hate that kid so much.
Well, like the actual child? Do you know him? What did he do to you?
No. I just kind of didn't like the episode entirely. So, and he is a reason why. He's one of the reasons why. One of the reasons
bastard.
why.
Young Ben has ruined the episode for you.
Yeah.
Not only did he kill his mother when he was born, but he fucked the episode up.
Yeah,
He
pretty much.
killed Caleb's hopes and dreams.
It's more about. So, all right, so my problem with it was that for literally every single scene this kid is in, and I almost took the time today to actually go through and mark time code and bring.
Oh my God.
I almost went, but I didn't do it.
Thank you for not doing that.
Yeah,
Very strongly about that.
every single time that kid is in a scene, he's crying, or he's looking hopeless, or has this like look on his face. Like, it is the worst thing ever, and I got so tired of it. Like, so when I watched the episode the first time to review it, I was like, God, this is, come on, man. Like, and then when I watched it a second time, I was like, every shot of him is just filler. Like, it's the most anyway. Yeah. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Continue.
We just got a deep injection of angst early in the episode.
Yeah. Like, I expect him to have black eyeliner and nail polish on and to be listening to Joy Division.
No, that's exactly
That would have
how
been
I
an
pictured-
improvement.
That's exactly how
It
I
would have been,
picture Ben
actually.
Linus. No, this kid is exactly how I picture Ben Linus as a child. It's amazing that you have this much hatred.
You have a very visceral reaction to this poor fucking kid.
This is like Anna Lucia level hatred.
Yeah, seriously.
This poor child in his goofy glasses. All right.
All right. So this little kid who Caleb hates.
Hopefully he hasn't found any work since then.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Again, to be fair, it's more about the writing and how they put the episode together than just the kid and what was written.
Mr. Mopey.
Yeah.
This is great because I love this episode. So I'm glad that you. I mean, I'm not glad that you hate it. I would hope you would like it, but this will be fun. All right, let's go, Christy.
All right. So Roger looks around at an array of Dharma boxes, vans, and a boat. Ben notices a sign that says Namaste, the Dharma Initiative. A woman says Namaste and puts floral necklaces over Roger and Ben like they're arriving in Hawaii or something.
Yeah, they got laid.
Suspicious. This is all too ridiculous to not be suspicious.
A man walks up and greets them. It's the same guy who had stopped at the side of the road when Emily died, only now he's got wavy, long 70s locks.
Yeah, man.
Horace.
He's the same guy who was in The Green Mile.
Yep.
Yeah.
Played the guard.
Yep.
Yeah,
Shithead
the one who
guard.
was like, dead man. I got a dead man walking.
Yeah, he's also like a child like groomer and sort of
Yeah.
pedophile.
Yeah, he
married
gross.
a 16-year-old when he was
Was she-
like 53.
When he was 51. Yeah.
Oh, he was
And then
51.
like she got like plastic surgery and fake boobs and stuff, I think.
Courtney
Interesting.
Stodden,
Mhm.
I think is the name, but they
Yeah.
use they them pronouns now.
Well, okay.
Because I looked it up after I watched this episode. I re-looked up like the whole scandal and obviously quickly forgot that it was 51 and not 53. But anyways, yeah, this guy in real life married a child.
He
And he's gross.
I was reading
Yeah.
about that too, and he said that he had been disowned by his family. He lost contact with a bunch of good friends, and he received death threats. And I I was like, so?
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
marry children. What I mean,
Yeah.
so
Jerry
what
Lee
do you
Lewis.
want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want? Pity? Don't
Yeah,
marry a child. I mean, I guess you shouldn't get death threats. I suppose that's slightly over the line, but I wouldn't start
Her
talking-
mother said her mother supported him.
Her
for
mother
obvious
did,
reasons.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's how she was allowed to marry, is because her
Yep.
parents like let it happen, or mom or whatever. But yeah, like I'm sorry, see how easily I slipped right back into that. Their mom. Yeah, so anyways, he's kind of a gross guy in real life.
Yeah, ick.
Yeah. Well, the hairstyle matches the ick factor, so
Yeah. So Mr. Ick now has a wavy long 70s do. Roger calls him Mr. Goodspeed and thanks him for the opportunity. He insists that Roger call him Horace. Roger introduces Ben and tells Horace that Ben doesn't say much. Horace says that's okay. I bet he will when he has something to say, right, Ben? And he invites him to lunch and says, "You're going to love it here."
oh god, now all I can think about is he's like gonna molest and marry a young Ben.
Right? Right? He puts his arm around young Ben and is like, come
Yeah.
on, let's get some lunch. And I was like, dude,
He says,
I'm
I'll
sure
give
you
you a
have
reason for
something-
tears.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll have something to say when you have something to say, or not. Just say nothing at
Or
all.
not.
Just
Just
come
say
here
nothing
quietly.
at all.
Can always tell a Milford man.
Keep your mouth shut. God.
Inside of a building, there's a group of people being inducted into the initiative. A television show shows a video of Martin Candle, and he says, "Welcome to the island. For your own comfort and safety, we ask that you stay within the confines of your new living quarters. Our barracks are surrounded by a high-frequency sonar fence to protect us from the island's abundant and diverse wildlife. You are now a member of the Dharma Initiative."
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That
And I
actually,
think even
under different circumstances, that's a pretty cool, like, you know, if you're in that situation, like, I'm living on this island now, this is awesome.
yeah. Well, if you don't know about the hostels, I guess.
Sure, yeah. I come to this
But at this
fantasy
point-
land with sonic fences, dude. I'm gonna do some cool shit here.
As this thing is playing, Roger, workman, or he's not workman yet, I guess, he says something about like, well, what kind of wildlife? And see, that's the question, right? That's the question.
Yeah.
Because like if it's
Polar bears.
parrots or something, or like monkeys, maybe they're pesky, but hostiles is a whole other situation.
I wouldn't say monkeys can't be hostile. That
I didn't say that. I did not. I
Chimpanzees
didn't.
can rip your nuts off.
I said they were pesky.
Really, it's just David Byrne in a big suit behind the sonar fence.
I mean, excuse me, but I would rather contend with monkeys other than Richard Alpert and his fucking gang of people who don't age.
Who?
Like,
truth.
that's scary.
That is
So,
scary.
There you go. Then I win. That's what I have to say about that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so they say you're now a member of the Dharma Initiative, and then we hear something inaudible, and then it continues. Every morning, you will be given a new code, which will allow you to cross outside the fences if you so desire. There are properties on this island that exist nowhere on Earth. Our mission is to study these properties for the betterment of mankind
Mhm.
and the advancement of world peace.
Oh, yeah.
Most of you will be working on the mainland. Should you be assigned to zoological studies, the Paula Ferry will carry you to and from the Hydra 3 times a day.
They had fairies.
Right?
They have fucking fairies and zoological studies where it was on Hydra.
Submarines. I mean,
Yeah. But we know, right? The bears were over there solving fish biscuit puzzles, right?
Mhm. So Roger's at a table when Ben watches some staff giving people injections, and a young girl approaches him and offers him an Apollo bar.
Mm.
She says her name is Annie, and they can have as many bars as they want.
Now,
Caleb.
if Ben pissed you off, this kid should balance you out a little bit, right? This girl
so
is
that's
adorable.
what I was trying to ask is like, Caleb, like what level of rage does this little girl induce?
Actually, honestly, nothing. But my problem is that they didn't do anything with her outside of the
I know.
action figures. They completely it's a dropped thread. Like they did nothing with her.
I always expected
I see.
like during the if he had killed her,
Yeah.
she was one of the ones that was laying dead, or maybe she died
Like-
sooner or something. Yeah, they never closed that one off.
Never
in
closed
the-
it.
in
I was
the
just
purge.
never appears again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was one thing that like went through my head. I was like, imagine like the actual like impact, like the beat that this would be if he found her dead in the
Right,
camp
yeah.
later on.
Exactly.
Totally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Missed
Okay,
opportunity
that's
for
fine.
sure.
Just it's Caleb is here to destrory my hopes and dreams.
We see what
Loving
they're crying in
this
this
episode.
scene.
That's
Yeah,
That's
that's
what's
right though.
happening.
There wasn't any crying. That's true. Very good observation.
oh boy.
So as Annie is giving the little asshole an Apollo bar,
Asshole
This
that.
little shit. Yeah.
I guess we know whose side she's on, Caleb.
So John Greaves is the hero of the episode. Ben's dad. We're all in alignment with that, right? He's a little shit, and he should be treated thusly.
Oh my god.
so
Cold as
Roger
ice.
can be overheard yelling about being assigned workman as his duties. He said he came there to change the world, not clean up after people.
Oh, calm down, Roger.
Yeah. He
You're
walks
just here to
away in
do
a huff
work,
and
man.
makes Ben follow him. So back in the now, over at Original Beach, Sawyer is hiding in the bushes, peeping at the people on the beach.
Nice.
Yeah.
Charlie and Claire are talking about Aaron. Further away, he sees Hurley and Desmond talking about haggis. He sees Saeed walking nearby and he calls out to him. Sawyer walks out of the bushes looking dirty and sweaty, and Saeed wants to know what happened to Sawyer.
As if that's anything new.
Yeah,
Right.
well, that's true.
Yeah, he's always
Yeah.
lubed up with coconut oil.
Mhm.
Is that what
And
it
somehow
is?
that note survived in his pocket the entire fucking
Yep.
time.
Uh-huh. So Sawyer tells Saeed that he was with Locke, who's back with the others now. He says, "Don't ask me where the hell it is, because it don't matter right now. What does matter is this." Sawyer raises his arm to show Saeed a tape recorder.
Dun, dun.
Bum, bum, bum.
They're gonna come get you, Juliet.
Now we are back with Mikhail, who's booking it through the jungle. He sprints to the others' camp and frantically looks for Ben, who steps out of his tent to say, "I thought you were dead." So did I, man. So did
Yeah, so
I.
did I.
Did you
As
see
you
that
wish.
shit squirt out of my fucking
Yeah.
ears?
No,
Right?
that's not lethal. Remember,
No.
Yeah.
that's not lethal. So
Yeah. And Mikhail says, "I was fortunate that the pylons were not set to lethal."
cheeky.
Is that the
cheeky.
setting on the dial? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's like-
lethal.
Lethal, non-lethal.
Non-lethal.
yeah, because I had it set. Remember, that episode, I set it to tickle my bum hole during my fuck. So there's bum hole
okay.
tickle setting, and then above that there's what ear squirts.
There's
And
one
then
that's
above
there's one
that-
that's just shits themselves. Like you just put
Just
it there.
shits themselves,
yeah.
and then
Just shits
there's a
themselves.
lethal.
Right.
That goes to
Like your head
11.
explodes.
guess.
I think
Yeah.
lethal is all the way up at 11.
That's
Yeah.
what it
Yeah,
said.
exactly.
But thank you for echoing it.
Oh, okay. Well, I've been drinking beer. What do you want?
A beer, actually.
that was perfect.
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
See, we need to take a drink. A drink.
Yeah, I'm gonna
We
grab
need
a
to
beer.
Take a drink
Yeah,
to go
let's
get a
take a
break.
Sounds
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna grab another
Go
beer
take a
and
drink.
take a hose.
Beer
too. I'll be right
break.
back.
Beer break.
Cue the music.
So Locke steps steps out of the tent, and Mikhail gets pissed. But Ben says, yeah, but Ben's like, well, he's with us now. So Mikhail tells them what happened in the jungle and that the woman is headed to Original Beach and that a ship is 130 clicks to the west. Ben says they're already going to their camp the day after tomorrow. We'll deal with her at that point. Mikhail insists that they go now, but Locke says Ben is taking him to see Jacob.
Like, everybody in the camp is like, what? Like, there's like side glances.
Yeah, everybody is like,
what?
Excuse me?
Also, FYI, I looked it up. Annie is in one other episode, season 5, episode 15, Follow the Leader. She makes an appearance.
But is she okay?
But
she's married to Horace.
Oh God! That's ghoulish.
Set a big old fake titties on her.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
On them.
On them. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, we don't really know what pronouns Annie ends up using. Courtney uses they them.
So Horace is a smooth criminal.
Oh boy!
Oh God! Oh God! Oh God!
All right. Okay. Well, Ben apologizes to Locke and he cancels
apologism.
Apologism.
Okay.
Apologism.
Try that again.
There's been a couple of times I've had some apologisms just to get through a rough spot in a relationship.
All right. Ben apologizes to Locke and he cancels the trip and he says this is more important. Mikhail is shocked that Ben explained himself to an outsider, and Locke just punches Mikhail in the face, knocks him to the ground, and he just beats the fuck out of him.
Beats the fuck. What the hell? And I love how Ben very unenthusiastically is asking for help. Tom?
Yeah.
Richard?
Yeah, nobody moves.
The shit out of him. Oh my God.
Yeah, Locke finally decides on his own to stop beating the shit out of him. And he leaves Mikhail bleeding on the ground.
Yet again.
Yep.
Yeah.
He turns around, looks at Ben, and says, "So when do we leave?"
Oh my God.
That was great.
Sploosh. That's what happened to the women in the camp who have been waiting for him. Sploosh.
No, not all of us.
That's what it sounds like.
Are you one of the others in the camp waiting for Locke?
I don't know. Okay, so a little bit later, Ben and Locke are at a stream, and Ben tells him that he could have made his point without beating Mikhail senseless. Locke disagrees, and then Alex pulls a lock in the box and pops out with a gun.
Hey!
She hands it to Locke, saying that they'll need it since they're going to see Jacob. Ben is absolutely shocked. Locke takes the gun and Alex goes to leave. As she's leaving, she looks over her shoulder and says, "Happy birthday, Dad." Flashback number 3. Young Ben.
Caleb's favorite scene.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
This little asshole. He's
God.
sitting in his class and his teacher is discussing volcanoes. Her uniform reveals her name to be Olivia. She's demonstrating an eruption when Annie raises her hand to ask if volcanoes on this island erupted. And the teacher says yes, but it was a very long time ago. The kids go get their own volcanoes to make eruptions. As Olivia is giving them instructions, the ground begins to shake and sirens start sounding. Olivia tells them to all get into position and yells for Annie to lock the back door. As she does, Olivia loads a shotgun.
The fuck kind of school is this?
I know, but that's exactly what little Ben is thinking.
It's any school in the USA today.
That's what I'm saying. I bet kids these days would watch this and be like, how fucking quaint.
Yeah, exactly.
Any school in Texas,
Seriously.
You're right.
So-
I mean, that's the dream for some, is that the teacher would have a shotgun. Terrible.
All right, so we have Dharma staff running down the hallway with their guns, and Annie grabs Ben and brings him into the corner. She tells him not to worry. It's just the hostiles. We'll be okay. And then shouting and explosions can be heard.
Oh, don't worry, though. It's fine.
It's getting raided by hostiles.
Yeah, it's fine.
So much for the fence.
Right.
Caleb, were you hoping that the kid would die?
No, the only thing that was going through my head was Horace is coming.
It's nighttime now, and
Well, in fact, he does come.
Yeah. Horace is talking to Roger back in his home at the barracks. Ben is lying in bed, petting a white rabbit.
Oh.
Hmm.
He hears his father describe being attacked in the jungle and opens the door to eavesdrop. Horace says they have skirmishes with the natives, and Roger throws his beer can to the ground. This ain't what I signed up for. Horace says before the island, Roger couldn't find work, and here Ben is getting a quality education. Roger doesn't care about Ben. He wants hazard pay to get shot at. He throws Horace out and tells him to come back with the money.
Okay, I mean, all of those things might be true, Horace, but I feel like you should still tell someone if they're going to move to like a remote island that they might be shot at from time to time.
Yeah. And
Like, that should have been
teachers
part of
pack
the deal.
shotguns.
Namaste.
Namaste.
That is my only response to that.
Seriously.
Razzle dazzle.
Razzle dazzle, bitch.
What do I need for the trip? A rifle and about 1,000 rounds of 30-06. What?
Yeah.
No,
Just for the
No.
wildlife, the abundant wildlife.
Just bring your swimsuit.
Bring lots of socks.
Oh, gosh. So while this is happening, Ben hears a rattling outside his window. He shuts his bedroom door and turns to find his mother staring at him from outside.
Say what?
Ben falls back, knocking over a chair.
Clumsy little shit.
Now, have any
What
of you
an
guys
asshole.
seen the first season of the TV show From that Michael
No.
stars in?
No.
No.
Okay. So anyhow, I was
Harold
Did he
getting,
Fair,
find? Did he find
Yeah, I
Walt in
know.
that show?
No, he doesn't, by the way. No, he doesn't.
Damn it.
and I was getting strong vibes from that show while watching this scene. So he gets up as Roger enters and tells him to go to bed. Ben looks out the window, but his mother's gone. He looks at a photo of her and, big shocker, starts crying like a whiny little bitch.
Oh my god.
Little bastard.
The hate is infectious.
Yeah.
Can I point something out that I think was interesting? So far now, we know that on this island, Christian was spotted by Jack.
Yep.
Yemi was there, spotted by Echo, and Emily by Ben. But I think what the interesting part about that is that both Christian and Yemi's bodies are on the island, but Emily's is not.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah. So I don't know what all that
Interesting.
means. I'm just dropping little nuggets for Derek.
It means that it's sloppy writing.
Kerplop.
That's what it means.
I knew you were going to sweep in here and take me out at the knees.
Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine.
She's really taking the writers out at the knees at this point.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we have Sawyer and Saeed making their way to Juliet's tent. They notice that she's not there when Kate shows up. She tells them that Juliet left with Jack. Shocker that Kate would be annoyed by that. She says they took off right after Kate told them about Naomi. And Saeed is like, why the fuck would you do that? So Kate says, because she's hurt, because he's a doctor, and because he has a right to know.
Why?
Damn right.
Yeah,
No, you didn't.
I'd say the first, you lost me at the third one there.
Yeah. I don't know why he has a right. I don't get it. But whatever.
Saeed walks away, and Kate yells after him, saying that he should tell everyone about Naomi. He whips around and says, play her the tape.
What?
Kate looks at Sawyer and says, what tape? Out in the jungle, Ben loads his canteen into his pack as he and Locke prepare to head out. Ben says, something you should know, John, before we go. Whether or not you think he's the Wizard of Oz, I can assure you that Jacob is very, very real. And we're going to go see him, and he's not going to like it.
Oh.
In fact, I have a feeling he's going to be very angry. And that's why my hand was shaking. Because this is not a man you go and see.
Oh.
This is a man who summons you.
Oh.
Wow.
Locke looks intrigued, and he just says, well, I guess there's a first time for everything.
He does it while he's
it.
like eating an apple or something
Yeah,
too.
he's so
He's just
casual.
very
Very
cash.
casual.
That's
Chewing
so,
his food. Mhm.
yeah, that's just how he kind of is with so many of these little moments where he's just
Yeah.
like, all right, well, whatever.
As they walk out of camp, all of the others
Yeah.
are staring at them, and Locke is like chewing with his mouth half open, apple
Yeah,
like
we-
hanging out. He's just like a little
Yeah,
child.
I noticed that.
Staring
Locke,
at Ben.
Locke is swinging the big dick energy right now. Like
Oh,
this
Jesus.
is what
Honestly,
this is
no.
what he does on his upshot.
I was actually just about to say the exact same thing. Like this
Big dick
episode is all about Locke and his big dick energy.
Big dick energy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You chew with your mouth open.
Yeah. You don't give a fuck.
When you have big dick energy, you can chew with your
you
mouth
don't.
open.
You can shoot.
Oh,
Exactly.
is that part of it?
That's it.
I see.
So it just kind of occurred to me the whole thing with Locke eating an apple in this scene kind of is very symbolic,
Of what?
the
Bible.
garden.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
garden.
Of
Gaining
Eden?
access to knowledge, to forbidden knowledge.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
So flashback number 4.
And would he and would Ben not be the snake?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know because
Yeah.
because one take on the name Jacob in Hebrew is to deceive.
Mm-hmm.
So you could consider maybe Jacob would be the snake too.
Oh. Maybe we're all the snake, man.
Oh, God.
The one-eyed trouser.
Whoa. Whoa.
That just-
that
that
is
just-
actually my favorite breed.
The one-eyed trouser?
Yeah, when I trouser snake. It's my
Jacob's
favorite.
the one-eyed trouser snake?
No, that's my favorite.
No,
breed.
man. We're
Oh,
all
snake.
one-eyed trouser snake.
I see. Gotcha.
So flashback number 4. Young Ben sits on the swings at the barracks with Annie.
Oh.
He unwraps a present to find 2 carved action figures.
Thank
Oh
you.
my God.
A boy and a girl.
Oh.
She tells him that the action figures represent the 2 of them, and now they'll never have to be apart.
And where did Horace touch you on this doll?
Oh my
Oh my God.
Oh, God.
Oh no.
She wishes him a happy birthday.
Oh, where did Horace touch you with this doll?
Oh,
Where did Horace put this doll?
Ooh.
oh God. Just
Damn
keeps
it,
getting
Horace.
worse.
Stop it. Stop it, Horace.
Horace, damn it.
Wow.
All right. So that evening, Ben arrives back at his house to find Roger asleep on the couch with beer cans scattered all around the room. Ben starts taking the boots off of his drunk father, which causes him to wake up. Roger notices the present, and he apologizes for forgetting his birthday. Fucking asshole, says.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to celebrate on the day you killed your mom.
I
She
wonder
was
this kid's
just-
a whiny little bastard.
Yeah.
What?
She was
are
just
you
7
doing?
months pregnant. We went for a hike, but you had to come early.
Wow.
Now she's gone, and I'm stuck here on this island with you.
Like it's
Happy
his fault.
birthday, Ben. Ben runs out crying and heads straight for the sonar fence. He hears whispers.
That was
and
fucking harsh. I mean,
it was.
It was.
Jesus
It was really
Christ.
fucked up. Yeah.
Caleb was
No
probably
wonder.
grinning, going, "Yeah, you little bastard."
I mean, no wonder he's a sniveling little asshole.
Yeah, that's why.
Seriously.
I wasn't grinning actually because the death by childbirth thing is actually kind of a really heavy used trope. Like I hate to say it, but
Sure.
so
Well, yeah.
yes, I was like, okay, the little fucker's kind of, whatever. But at the same time, I was like, come on, man, like
More lazy writing.
Hey,
more lazy writing.
it happened to Tyrion. So
I was
let's
just
just
gonna
remember
say,
that.
I guess is J.R. Martin.
I mean, do we really want to get into
lazy?
that conversation? Because
Yeah,
laziness
I
is
do.
George R. R.
Yeah.
Martin.
That's a whole thing. We don't want to go there right now.
I want
We
you
don't have-
on the record. I have been writing a short story about the main character who killed his mom in childbirth. So you ruined that too now, Caleb.
Good.
He didn't
Wow.
kill his mother.
Wow.
Because I'm going to tell you that it's an overdone and ham-fisted thing in most writing, and you should go back
I'm
and
just
revise
kidding.
that.
I'm just kidding. There's
No,
no
I want you to. I don't care. I want you to go back and do it anyway.
revise. Okay, got it.
You don't
I'm
understand.
on
But then her mom dies, and then her mom is reborn as a zombie, and then it's like a buddy cop movie.
That's my story.
Zombie and the babe.
Oh, there
Oh
you
my
go.
god.
I think it's pronounced bebe.
Baby. Oh, the little babies.
It's like zombie cop, like cuff him, zombie cop, like.
Book him, zombie.
You're the worst partner ever, zombie cop.
Running away from zombie cop wouldn't be very hard. I mean, I guess it could be one of those quick zombies, like
But he's-
No, zombie.
8 days later ones.
Those aren't zombies. Zombies aren't fast. I'm just that's
No.
the definition of a zombie is it's not fast.
It's like
that
Jason.
true?
He's just around every
No.
corner. Like that's what it is. Like you could run as fast as whatever, but he's just there when you get to the plot point, or the whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ben runs out crying and heads straight for the sonar fence, and then he starts hearing whispers. And then he sees his mother on the other side of the barrier. He runs towards her, but she stops him and says, "It's not time yet."
Time
And then
for
she
what?
turns around and leaves. And he's crying out to her, and then he gives up and goes running back to the barracks.
And he trips, by the way. Gangly little fucker. Like, I wish you would face plant.
Yeah, you wish you would have tripped and fell into the fence.
Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
Present day Ben is trekking through the jungle at night with Locke. They approach a line of what appears to be gray powder. Ben pauses and then steps over it, and Locke picks up a little and sniffs it.
Hey.
And Ben is like, "Let's go, John." Yeah, doing lines of gunpowder.
Yeah, I wondered why he was doing that. Like, what was the point of that?
Ashes
He's
of
trying
the
to identify
ashes
it?
of the dead.
Yeah, he's smelling it to try to figure out what it is.
Mm.
I'm assuming that it's gunpowder at this point. I don't really know.
I thought it would be some kind of salt or something like that, because that's a pretty classic way to keep demons.
The bad spirits away.
Yeah, the bad spirits contained.
And slugs.
Yes, and slugs
Yeah.
too.
It was probably cocaine, though. For real.
That would have been sweet. This episode would have gone a different direction.
Do a
They were
big
just
old
both be like,
frickin' line
you
right there."
want to do some blow? They're like, it's free. Yeah, come on.
Yeah. It's like, hey
You
guys,
can- just like the Apollo bars, you can have as much as you want.
Exactly.
Hey!
And
I
he comes
mean-
back and she's just totally wrecked on coke.
Yeah, it's the 70s, so yeah.
it is. I mean, this is J.J. Abrams' present like thing, right? So there's enough money to throw around. It was probably a treat.
Yeah, probably.
Treat for the crew.
Yeah.
Like after we get
Yeah.
done this shot, go for it, guys.
So back on Original Beach, everybody is like talking about Naomi and how the entire world thinks that they're all dead.
What?
Saeed says that's not important right now.
Again?
Whatever.
Shut
They
up,
kept her a
Saeed. You don't
secret,
matter
yeah.
anymore.
They kept her a secret to keep her safe from Jack. He
What?
spent a week with the others, and now he's brought Juliet. Sun tries to defend her, but Sawyer plays the tape. We hear Juliet's voice saying, "Quan is pregnant. The fetus is healthy and was conceived on island with her husband. He was sterile before they got here. I'm still working on getting samples from the other women. I should have Austin soon. I'll report back when I know more." And it's funny in this scene
Ruh-roh.
when they say, that her husband was sterile before they got here, they cut to Jin's face.
Yep.
But he clearly doesn't have enough grasp of the English language
Yeah.
at this point to understand.
Yeah, he doesn't get it. Yeah.
It is swimmers don't swim.
Well, I definitely think he heard Quan, right? He heard the name.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, he
Jin's
understood that part of it. And he understands pregnant.
But it could have been Miss Kwan. It could have been Dr. Kwan, medicine woman. We met
Yeah.
her last week.
Fish
Yeah.
medicine
So,
woman.
fish medicine woman. That's right.
Yeah.
So we can hear Jack's voice saying, "Where'd you get that?" The entire camp turns to find him and Juliet behind them listening. The men start to argue, and Juliet says, "Turn the tape over." Sawyer flips the tape over, and everyone hears Ben say, "Juliet, it's Ben. I'm sending 3 teams to extract Quan the night after tomorrow. We won't have time to run Austin's sample, so if you determine that she or anyone else is pregnant, mark their tents and we'll take them too.
All right.
Good luck.
At this point, we have to interject. If there are any millennials listening, a cassette tape was a thing from our era that you recorded sound to, and it was double-sided. You could flip it in the player.
Yeah. Flip it over.
Little fuckers.
Hey, we've got some millennial listeners, and one is a fan of mine and Derek.
Millennials are like 40, mid-30s. What you mean is
yeah.
we have a Gen Z listener is what you mean.
Oh,
Gen Z.
okay. I don't know what I'm talking about then, clearly. Because
just
I'm an
the
old
one.
ass Gen Xer, almost a boomer.
You're not almost a boomer.
No, boomers are like 40s and 50s.
We're in our 40s, Derek.
No, I'm talking about born
He's
in the
born
40s
in-
and 50s.
I'm like,
Have
duh,
have
that's
another
the title
beer.
of our whole fucking episode. All right. So Juliet tells everyone that the night that she saw Sun's ultrasound, she confessed to Jack what the others were making her do. Saeed asks Jack why he didn't tell them, and Jack says he hadn't decided what to do about it yet. Saeed says, yet. And Jack says, I think we've got some catching up to do.
Okay.
Flashback number 5.
Caleb's
Ben
mad
heads-
already.
Yep. Little Ben heads back to the sonar fence, armed with a deactivation code.
Trips, falls through it, dies. Yay!
Yay.
He enters the code, turns the dial to not kill. And right. He hears the sound of the fence buzzing die down.
To like excruciating gas. That's stage 1.
That was stage 1.
Yeah.
So he pulls his rabbit out and he shoos it across the fence line to make sure that it really is off. And then he runs through and grabs her.
Pause. Little Ben was like perfectly willing to fry that rabbit if that was going to happen.
He was a
As opposed
psychopath
to
from
himself.
the day he killed his mother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was a born killer.
Wow.
Caleb's annoyed by that.
Little bastard.
I actually didn't think the rabbit thing was that big of a deal. Like, I was
Well,
what else was he going to do?
I
Like,
thought the same
Yeah,
thing.
as opposed to himself. Yeah. I mean,
I wasn't going to poo-poo anything, but yeah, I'm sort of just like, yeah, if I needed to do that, I'd find an animal and just put it through there and okay, cool, I'm good.
I mean,
Canary in a coal
okay,
mine.
well,
Yeah.
you're all sick people.
hey, it
No.
it could have been Annie. Like,
That's
Wow.
right.
shove
If you
her right
could-
on through there.
If you could get her away from the Coke table.
I mean,
that girl does nothing but coke day in, day out.
so she shows up in the next episode that she's in. She's like Jenny from Forrest Gump, where she's like doing lines and standing on the edge of the balcony while like,
DNA.
Freebird plays or whatever.
That's actually how Lethal Weapon started too. So just,
Exactly.
Oh, there you go.
Exactly.
So there, from one trope to another. It's perfect.
All right. So he runs through once he realizes that the sonic thing isn't going to kill him. He grabs the bunny and he heads into the jungle while hearing whispers and calling for his mother. Yep. He keeps running deeper into the jungle, screaming, "Mom!"
Walt.
Right?
Coral.
Coral.
Yep. He hears a bunch of whispering. He keeps turning around, and all of a sudden, we find a long-haired Richard Alpert behind him.
Say what?
Say what?
Because wasn't this about 30 years prior? I
Yeah,
guess?
doesn't he look exactly the same? That's
Yeah.
interesting, isn't
Are you
it?
telling me that the island has some anti-aging properties?
They just haven't yet shown us the fountain of youth.
Or maybe they just drink a lot of water and moisturize regularly.
All that
I know.
coconut oil.
I know why.
And Coke.
And I'm sure Caleb knows why. He remembers the show. I think the rest of you, well, one of you hasn't seen it, but the other two, Christy and Ben, you guys don't remember.
I
lots
don't
of it.
remember.
I
Yeah.
vaguely remember why that happens, but I'll be surprised
We'll
to find
get
out.
there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Because as we'll see later on, people do age on the island.
Uh-huh.
Truth.
I mean, it's not the cocaine, that's for sure.
No.
No, it's not the cocaine. No. It's the adrenochrome.
Oh God. Yeah.
That's why they need the babies.
Yeah. Just a fresh adrenaline gland to chew on.
I think you just cracked this son of a bitch way open, Lacy.
Yeah.
Like,
Lost was way ahead. Lost was like queuing on before there was one. That's what it is. They know all the shit.
fuck's sake.
What is adrenochrome?
It's nothing. It's some shit that QAnon thinks that liberals kill babies and drink to like keep them young.
Underneath pizza restaurants?
Adrenochrome it's a chemical. It's like
from your adrenal gland, I guess.
Right,
Adrenal gland.
Makes adrenaline.
Exactly. And so I guess if you
well, that's why I don't know, because I don't listen to those idiots.
You could also put adrenochrome in your Milk Plus and sharpen you up.
No.
Get you ready for a bit of the ultraviolence.
It's just Adderall.
It's just
Adderall. Pure Adderall. Which is basically
all right.
cocaine.
So we have a dirty long-haired Richard asking little Ben if he's lost.
Dirty long-haired Little Richard. Fucking Little Richard shows up. No, go back where you came from. I'm whatever's going on here. I don't want a part of this.
I feel good. That's all that cocaine.
Oh, he is on the island.
That is true.
That's definitely
Wow.
Little Richard.
Wow.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Didn't Little Richard have some underage
Probably
things as well? Let's just say. So
if you played piano in the 50s, yeah, you were fucking children.
Him and Jerry Lee went to the same play. Yeah.
So Ben asks Richard if he's a hostel. Richard asks his name and Ben tells him, and then he says he's looking for his mother. He also tells Richard that his mother died when he was a baby. Richard asks what his mother said, and Ben tells him she said it wasn't time for him to go with her yet. Richard tells him to go home, but Ben wants to go with him. Alpert says, maybe that can happen. Maybe. But if that's what you really want, Ben, if that's what you want, I want you to really think about that. And you're going to have to be very, very patient.
This is weird.
Yeah.
So deep in the jungle, Ben and Locke approach an old shack. And Ben says, we're here. He tells Locke to turn off his flashlight because Jacob feels the same way about technology that Locke does. Ben lights a lantern and says, there's no going back. Locke steps forward. Ben announces that they're here and they step inside. Locke looks around and he sees some weird jars that look like they're filled with pee over by the window. A painting of a dog and an empty chair.
Why did your mind go right to pee though? Like I gotta wait.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Mine did too.
Really?
I didn't put that in the
The first thing I thought it was like pee.
I've read too many fucking weird things on Reddit, I guess.
My mind went to, I guess just because of the fetus thing, my mind went to fetuses. I actually didn't really pay much attention, but yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
I think that's a little darker than thinking about pee.
Oh, that depends on where you're coming from.
So Ben introduces the empty chair to Locke as Jacob.
Didn't Clint Eastwood do the same gig?
I said the exact same thing in my notes.
I didn't write it in my notes. I just thought it as it happened. But yeah, that was...
Oh, he talked to an empty chair.
Yeah, the RNC.
Yeah. All right. So Locke is just as confused as America was. Ben is talking to the invisible Jacob and he keeps pointing at the chair saying he's right here. He looks at Locke and says, you wanted the secrets of the island? Well, here they are. This is the man who can answer every single... Ben turns to speak to the chair and says, I am not. He made me bring him here. Do you think that was my... Sorry, may I finish?
Damn.
These are actually the exact same things that Clint Eastwood said.
I know.
He ripped off Lost, I guess. You have to do one of those side by side. Have you ever seen? You have to go to YouTube and get the clip of Trump giving a speech at the RNC and Elle Woods from what is her movie? Legally Blonde. She gives like a speech in Legally Blonde, and Trump like basically rips it off. It's almost word for word, and it goes back and forth, sentence for sentence.
That's
and it's
amazing.
Almost identical. It is amazing, and there's a really fucking great clip of it. I'm so high.
Someone's been on the island.
Wait, who?
Yeah, you've been snorting that coke.
Graham Norton. There's a great clip of Reese Witherspoon on Graham Norton, and Graham Norton plays it, and it's pretty funny. But you should check it out if you can find it. Just Google like Trump L. Woods speech, and I'm sure it'll come up.
Well, I've never seen Legally Blonde. Caleb has this weird Reese Witherspoon hatred.
Oh, that's right. You hate her too. You are so hateful.
Yeah, I'm pretty hateful.
It's funny because my dad has the exact opposite.
Your dad has a crush on Reese Witherspoon?
Oh, yeah.
Ew.
Well, we already know that your dad has mental problems.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think you have to have mental problems to have a crush on Reese Witherspoon. I don't personally, but I would not begrudge somebody who does. However, it does sound like our guest might. So
yeah,
can we dive into that a little bit?
I just think that everybody that has a crush on her should be tagged like a scarlet letter or like Jews in the Holocaust. Like, you know.
Oh, well, I mean, I agree with that. Like,
in my own sphere of knowledge, yes, I agree with you.
Caleb doesn't like her chin. He thinks that she looks like Stripe from the Gremlins.
Yeah, she's got yeah.
You could cut a roast with her face.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't know why. I don't know why. I actually, she's just it's.
Oh my
God.
God!
That chin. Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. Look at
that. I don't really find her attractive either.
Have her and Jay Leno have a kid. Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
Stan Smith from American Dad. Yeah. So
I think Reese Witherspoon is charming. So
I do too.
I like some of the stuff she's been in.
Hey, you know what? Most of those women found Bundy very charming too, by the way.
Oh my God.
Checkmate.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
All right. Well, back on the island, Locke says to Ben, "You're crazy." He accuses Ben of knowing nothing about the island. He says that he made it all up. Ben starts talking to the chair again, and Locke yells, "Stop! Shut up! You're putting on a show for me? Or do you really think there's somebody there?" And Ben replies, "I know there's someone there."
Wow.
Oh my
Locke
God.
calls him pathetic and turns to leave the cabin, but before he can go, he hears a voice say, "Help me."
Mm-hmm.
Locke accuses Ben of saying it and points the flashlight at him. Suddenly, the whole room comes alive. The chairs are rocking, glasses are smashing, a lantern
and the
catches
uteruses
fire.
are dancing.
I know.
Yeah.
Fetuses,
like
not uteruses.
It's like Pee just said.
Probably a uterus in there somewhere.
Now I'm imagining a uterus dancing in its
tube.
fallopian tubes, waving like arms.
Yeah, like the inflatable, like
Wacky waving
waving arm
tube
guy.
Yeah, wacky waving arm guy. That's how my uterus dances.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This is a lot of fun.
You can tell we started drinking since the beginning of this episode, huh?
Oh yeah.
You can blame it on me.
No blame.
He's an agitator.
I am an agitator.
It's true.
All right. So the whole fucking shack is freaking out, and Ben looks at the chair and says, "That's enough." And then Ben is thrown back against the wall.
Boy.
For about a second, you can see a figure sitting in the chair.
What?
Then we have a close up of an eye. And then Locke nopes the fuck out of the cabin.
You ain't swinging that big dick no more.
Yeah. No. It's like a little turtle. Little turtle just pulled right back in.
It was cold. It was cold in there.
There was
It was cold.
I was in the pool.
Yeah.
I think it crawled back up inside me.
It's an innie.
Ben comes out of the cabin a moment later looking pretty shook.
There's no fire anymore. Even though
I know the fire just kind of magically went out.
Yeah.
They kind of pause for a second and absorb what just happened. And finally Locke says, "What was that?" And Ben says, "Well, that was Jacob."
Duh.
I know, right?
Boy.
Yeah. I'm trying to tell you.
So now it's the next morning and it's day 90 for Locke. He and Ben are walking through the jungle. Ben wants to know what Locke heard Jacob say. And Locke says, he didn't say anything to me. You did. There's no Jacob, Ben. I'm not going to be taken in by the little show you put on last night. You're a fraud. And it's time your people were told the truth. And this is not the way we came.
By the way,
So Ben says that he's taking them back another way, and he admits that some of the things he has said are not true.
Really?
And that's when he says that he was not born on the island.
What?
Flashback number 6.
Ah,
he's not a little shit anymore, though.
This is a
He's
lot of
teenager.
flashbacks.
it's
You still don't like this actor either?
no, I just there's a lot of flashbacks in this episode.
So, 12 years ago, Ben is in his house zipping up his Dharma jumpsuit, and it says Ben, workman.
Mm.
He looks at his watch and then at the action figure that Annie gave him years earlier.
Thank you.
You're committing to that one.
I mean, I'm supportive of my husband and his ideas. He places the action figure in his bag and heads outside, carrying items to a Dharma van. The now old Roger workman is struggling to put pallets of beer into the back. Roger wonders why Ben is in a mood. And Ben says, it's my birthday.
Duh.
Big deal. You're 50 now.
It's supposed to be like 20 in this.
I know,
It's
but
the
he's not
anniversary
50.
Me killing
Yeah.
my mother.
Yes. Let's put another stupid wig on you, and hey, you're young.
He's still wearing those stupid little glasses. Roger says, look, we can run this stuff to the Pearl and then have some father-son time at the Mesa drinking beers.
Hey, son, let's go murder a few beers. Yeah, Dad.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely, Dad.
that's what we're murdering.
Not just the beer.
So a bit later, we have Roger and Ben in the van up on a ridge listening to Shambhala. Ben asks Roger if he really blames him for his mother's death, and Roger says, what do I know? Then he asks why Ben keeps looking at his watch. Ben unzips his bag and says, you know, I've missed her too, maybe as much as you have. But the difference is, for as long as I can remember, I've had to put up with you. And doing that requires a tremendous amount of patience.
Jesus.
Roger stares at Ben as he pulls a gas mask out of his bag, and he says, goodbye, Dad.
Oh, fuck.
He puts the mask on, and then he releases a canister in the van. Roger is like, Ben? Just before he coughs, retches, and then blood starts coming out of his nose and his mouth.
Didn't think about opening the door and getting the fuck out of there.
I guess
Yeah.
not.
Yeah,
I mean,
mask?
he was just
Oh,
a
you
work
mean the
man. He
dad,
wasn't
yeah.
like really
Oh, sure,
smart.
he's just a work man.
Yeah,
So-
he's a janitor. He
Point.
can't figure out how to get out of a car.
Whoa, hold on.
Toxic gas.
We shouldn't be maligning janitors. They serve perfectly good.
Yes.
Like,
That's
They
true.
clean up our shit.
Custodian,
My apologies-
dick.
Yep, my apologies to all custodial engineers.
Why does it have to be a work man?
Wow.
All right, that's how he identifies Derek.
Not by his
Work
choice.
man.
So he's clawing at Ben's mask as he dies, and Ben just quietly sits there and watches.
Holy fuck.
Ben,
We're assuming Annie died in this purge as well, right? Like that's
yeah, that's what my assumption was.
yeah,
They
it's
should have
fucked up.
shown her like they've been seeing her dead. That's really fucking
I
up.
agree. Yeah.
So, you will find out what happened to Annie in the episode that she appears in. The next one. I wouldn't say that the storyline is over. There are some answers, but I would agree with Caleb that they could have done more with her character. For
With,
sure.
like,
Oh, yeah.
within this episode, they could have delivered so much more emotional payload just by linking those
Yep.
things together, and that missed opportunity.
Have a candy bar.
We'll discuss it again when she shows up in season 5.
All right. So Ben has walked his ass back to the barracks. I assume that he walks, seeing as we found the van many years later, still out on the ridge.
Right.
With Skeletor.
Yep. He's
Right.
walking around Skeletor. That's just Roger.
It's just Roger. Cheers.
So he's walking around with his gas mask on, and there are dead Dharma Initiative folks lying all over the ground. He notices a dead Horace sitting on a bench and closes his eyes.
He had it coming.
Yeah, he did. Yep. Don't diddle the kiddles.
Yep.
He closes his eyes, cleans his pockets out, deletes his browser history.
Right.
Roy's USB drive.
Right.
Richard Alpert and the other hostiles arrive, all with masks on. Alpert checks his watch, and then he removes his mask, taking a deep breath. The rest of Team Purge takes off their masks, and Alpert asks Ben if he'd like him to retrieve his father's body, and Ben says, no, leave him out there.
Let him rot.
There's a like, I actually liked this scene in particular because Alpert here, the way that he interacts with him, there's like an indifference, like a cold indifference.
Yes.
That you could almost take as respect, but it's not. There's like this cold indifference about, do you want us to get your father's body? It's just very matter of fact, and that makes his character more sort of like chilling.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think Albert's a great character.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Look, though, I'm not a chemical engineer. I'm not a chemist, any of that kind of stuff. But what the hell did they use to kill these people? Because they
I was wondering that too.
Yeah, they unleash it in a completely open environment. And, so there had to be a crack ton of this stuff, right?
Well,
Like,
now Roger got it in the car.
well, for sure.
But
Yeah, that
the
makes
rest
sense.
Of the rest of everybody around the barracks is just laying out like
Yeah.
in the lawn. Yeah, and then Alpert takes his mask off and takes a deep breath, like because he looks at his watch. So like, what gas kills people out in the open and then dissipates within like the right amount of seconds?
I think like a nerve agent would be the only thing that you could get into could be that many parts per million. Like you would need a lot of some types of gases, but there are nerve agents that could kill everybody, but they wouldn't die like just kind of falling over or whatever. It'd be like agonizing.
Constricted
Your
gas.
muscles will twitch, will lock up, and you're twitching and convulsing.
Yeah.
We talked about that, I think, probably back in season 1 in a Saeed episode. We talked a little bit about the sarin gas and what that would do.
So did
That's
anybody
the
else
same
realize how many Nick Cage like allusions there are in this one? There's
I
at
have
least
not.
In this
two that I
episode?
can. There's at least two that I can think of right off the bat. So in The Rock, Nick Cage's character's name was Stanley Goodspeed.
Yeah.
Speed Horse.
That's right.
And he was a chemist dealing with nerve agents and stuff.
That's
like
right.
that.
That's right.
There's also a bunny that gets
The
put
whole
into the bag.
idea that Nick Cage was a chemist is just,
I mean,
Hey, he was a wild man chemist.
that is right.
Have you guys seen The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent?
Have not.
So good.
No.
Oh my God, it's so
so
good.
good.
It's so fun.
It's one of the better films I've seen in.
What is it called?
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
It
Nick Cage
stars
plays
Nick
Nick
Cage as Nick Cage.
As
in a
Nick Cage.
Semi-biographical story, sort of.
It's ridiculous. It's amazing.
It's pretty great. Yeah, I highly recommend that.
Pedro Pascal's in it, and he's actually really funny in that.
Yeah.
oh, I love him.
Yeah, I know you're watching The Last of Us. Do you hate that show, Caleb?
No, it's great.
It's great.
it's pretty good,
It's
isn't
really
it?
great.
It's great.
They write the characters are written really fucking well.
Well, it's Craig Mazin, the guy that did Chernobyl, and
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah. So
Also
Chernobyl.
amazing.
Chernobyl, that was one of that. Was
We've actually
stellar.
just started watching Chernobyl.
yeah.
Oh my god! It's
Oh,
But yeah, The Last of Us, I think I've cried in every single episode so
Yeah.
far.
Chernobyl, don't watch that if you're in a bad mood. Because it's gonna like drag you down into like
It's
the
tough.
depths of sadness.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I was saying like,
It's stellar, amazing.
yeah,
I mean, is it about like the Chernobyl disaster?
Yes.
Or, like,
Yeah.
is it
Yep.
It is.
it is about a lot of the characters that were basically there and what happened. It's the story of Chernobyl and
Yeah.
the kind of fallout and every
Complete and total
fallout.
clusterfuck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for the purposes
I've
of
read
like,
a lot about it.
Yeah.
For the purposes of clarity of writing, what they did, they put this together, wrote this story based on interviews and things like that. It's really historically accurate, except for kind of one main point is that they took the interviews and the voices of several, I think they said 25 or something of the scientists that worked there, and they compiled it all into one character who didn't really exist. And so that one character brings the voices of like all of these other people.
Is that Legasov? Is that Jared Harris's character, the main character?
Yeah.
Legasov?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
HBO.
Was it? No, I
That's
thought
one thing I
it
don't
was
have.
the woman. I thought
Oh.
I thought it was Jared Harris's character.
Now I can't remember exactly. We'll have to look that up.
All right, back in the present, we have Ben, who has led Locke to a mass grave full of skeletons in their Dharma jumpsuits.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Wow.
Uh-oh. Locke stares down at the dead, and Ben says, "This is where I came from, John. These
Mass
are my
grave?
people, the Dharma Initiative. They came here seeking harmony, but they couldn't even coexist with the island's original inhabitants. And when it became clear that one side had to go, one side had to be purged, I did what I had to do. I was one of the people that was smart enough to make sure that I didn't end up in that ditch, which makes me considerably smarter than you, John."
Ruh-roh.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
You never hear the one with your name on it, do you?
Yep. Locke turns around and Ben shoots him.
Damn.
Locke falls into the pit of bodies, and Ben says, "What did Jacob say to you?" Locke asks Ben why he shot him, and Ben says it's because Locke heard Jacob. And again he asks what Jacob said. Locke says, "Help me." Ben asks him a third time, "What did Jacob say?" And Locke replies, "He said, 'Help me.'"
No, finish.
What?
Tell me what he said.
what did he say?
Motherfucker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben
Who's
looks
on
incredulous.
first?
Yeah, who's on first? Ben looks incredulous. He pauses for a long
he
moment,
does.
and then he kind of half snickers in disbelief before leaving Locke bleeding in a mass grave. Ben says, "Well, I certainly hope he helps you, John." Now, I do have to just say that, the whole thing where the Dharma Initiative couldn't even coexist with the island's original inhabitants, isn't that like the story of colonization globally?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like that, that's not exactly a new situation.
No.
So,
Look what you did, Caleb. Look what you turned Christy into.
Hey,
so now
I'm sure that's what her father says from time to time, too.
Oh my
but-
God. Okay, so lost title screen, end of episode. The end.
Yes. The end.
Will this be the untimely death of John Locke?
Oh,
Will it?
tune in next week. Okay. Christy, you had something for us at the end of this episode, is that right?
Yeah, so I have my own little fun facts.
Okay.
Oh.
Do it.
So
Gilgamesh, all right.
when I saw Ben's mom, for a moment I thought that she looked like the lady who played the sheriff earlier this season. So I Googled her, but I was incorrect. The woman who plays Emily Linus is actually the real life wife of Ben Linus.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
right on.
really?
Yeah.
And she played his mother.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Incidentally, Emily was also the name of Henry Gale's wife in The Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's
All right,
right.
all right.
It was.
Yeah. So just my own little fun facts. That's all I really wanted to say.
It's very interesting.
Well,
I also have a quick fun fact, too, if I could interject. The gentleman
Indeed.
that plays Mikhail, his name is Andrew Divoff, and he's a polyglot. He speaks like 8 languages.
really?
And the only reason I know that is because in the 90s, he was on an episode of the really bad Highlander TV show, and that I used to watch religiously. And it just so happened that I looked him up one day.
Was it just as bad as Highlander 2, the Quickening movie? God, that was a piece of trash.
Ooh, we could do an entire another podcast
Oh, I
about this
know.
one, Derek.
I know. Yeah. He was also in Wishmaster. As
He
you
was,
wish.
yeah. He played the djinn. Yeah.
That's where I recognized him from.
We were actually just talking about polyglots in the last episode.
We were.
Yeah, because
I
Naomi.
barely speak one language.
That's a polyglot of discussions.
Okay.
Uh,
Are we ready for the official fun facts?
we are.
Yeah, these were good.
We got a fun fact rebellion starting here.
Yeah.
Oscar, Zoroaster, Phaedrig, Isaac, Norman, Henkel, Emmanuel, Ambrose, Diggs.
She's just
Also-
throwing out names here.
Yeah.
What?
That was one name.
I think Lacy had a
Also
stroke.
known as. I'm going to say it again now, and it's all of your faults. Are you ready?
Yeah, ready.
Oscar, Zoroaster, Phaedrig, Isaac, Norman, Henkel, Emmanuel, Ambrose, Diggs, also known as the Wizard of Oz, Oz the Great and Terrible, the Great and Powerful Oz, and the Man Behind the Curtain. The Wizard is one of the characters in The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, working as a magician.
Because.
Yeah, because of the wonderful things he does. That's right. Working as a magician for a circus, he wrote Oz, O-Z, on the side of his hot air balloon. It was comprised of the initials of his first two forenames, Oscar Zoroaster.
Ah.
One day, his balloon sailed into the land of Oz, and he found himself worshipped as a great sorcerer. As Oz had no leadership at the time, he became the supreme ruler of the kingdom and did his best to sustain the myth. Unseen for most of the novel, he is the ruler of the land of Oz and highly venerated by his subjects, believing he is the only man capable of solving their problems. Dorothy and her friends travel to Emerald City, the capital of Oz, to meet him. He's very reluctant, but eventually each is granted an audience one by one. On each of these occasions, the wizard appears in a different form. Once, he's a giant head for Dorothy. The Scarecrow, he appears as a beautiful... He appears as a beautiful fairy to the Scarecrow.
Giggity.
He's a horrible monster to the Tin Man. And a ball of fire to the Cowardly Lion. When at last he grants an audience to all of them at once, he seems to be a disembodied voice. Eventually, of course, it is revealed that Oz is actually none of these things, but rather an ordinary con man from Omaha, Nebraska, who's been using elaborate magic tricks and props to make himself seem great and powerful. Toto pulls back the curtain, revealing the wizard to be a fraud, all smoke and mirrors, and no real power. So, was the great and powerful Ben revealed to be an ordinary man this week?
So,
the short
do you know what?
Toto also blessed the rains down in Africa.
Indeed.
You stay upstairs. You don't get to come downstairs for the rest of the night. In the movie, do you know what the actual quote that this is actually something that I start off my notes with? So the actual quote when the group in Oz finds him is, "Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain," which I think if you break that down and you look at it in relationship to Ben's character is actually really salient because it has implications for Ben's past, present, and his future. He's ignored by a lot of people while he's making his moves. His dad ignored him. The only person who didn't really ignore him was Annie.
Bless her soul.
Yeah, bless her soul. and maybe Horace once or twice, but we'll see. When you think about that very first, those three words, pay no attention, right? Like, we'll see how that kind of plays out and how it affects Ben in later episodes.
Shall we do some best and worst moments?
No, I just want to take one more thing to say is that there's no way that Ben's father, Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite wasn't covered in shit when his wife gave birth in the middle of that.
Oh yeah, he's awfully clean, isn't he?
He came out clean. There's no way.
Yeah, he did.
No way.
Sorry,
I forgot that he was Uncle Rico.
Yeah.
He could probably throw that baby over that mountain.
Yeah, he could throw a football over the mountains.
Fucking takes Ben as a baby and just whips him across.
Throws him to the island.
It sort of ended with Lost, the title screen, and everything will be over.
End of story.
Sorry.
Okay, Christy, what were your best and worst moments this week?
I thought Annie was super sweet when she befriended Ben. I wrote she was a sweet little girl. I wonder if Ben had her killed too. Worst moment. As much as his father was an asshole, Ben killing his father and setting up the whole hospitals to kill all of the Dharma folks was pretty fucking awful.
Okay, Derek sounds like it disagrees. What were your best and worst, Derek?
Well, my best moment was the entire Jacob scene.
Okay.
I like that. Sort of reveal, like a millisecond reveal.
Yeah.
And the worst moment was just Locke getting shot and being, falling into the pit because he just kept insisting on, going to see Jacob and all that. So I just, hopefully he survives. I mean, I like Locke, even though he can be a pain, but.
Yeah, you haven't seen any episodes after this one as of this recording. Nope. So yeah, you don't know what's going to happen. Caleb, do you have best and worst moments for us?
I do.
Christy.
So, yeah.
Your camera fell down. We're staring at your crotch.
Yeah.
Good thing you decided to wear pants today.
I know, right?
I tried real hard to get her to not wear pants today, but man. No, as much as I've been bitching about Ben as a kid, my best moment was when he murdered his father. Which, and this is a point that, and I mentioned this earlier, and like I said, I think Ben tapped into this, maybe even unwittingly, but I'm not sure. There's a lot of parricide in Lost. There are a lot of people murdering their parents.
Yeah.
It's funny that was your best moment, and that was my worst moment.
I know, and I noted that too. But yeah, it
careful what you say because Derek hasn't seen past this.
No, for sure. I'm just saying that so far, at least in this episode, we've acknowledged at least two people murdering their parents, right?
Well,
yeah, last episode, yeah.
So,
well, Locke had his father killed, but still,
there's that, yeah.
So,
Ben technically killed both his mother and his father, and on his birthday, both times.
Right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
well, if you're not giving the baby for agency beforehand, then her mother's body killed itself.
Okay.
For sure.
Whatever.
If you don't, you have to give the baby agency once they're out of the womb, right? You can't really do that beforehand.
He was out.
The result of him coming out probably
is what killed her.
Yeah, is what killed her.
So, but again, this is like kind of just a very common theme throughout. I don't need to explain that. A common theme in a lot of literature and a lot of stuff is people killing their parents. And then I don't want to be weird, but we tapped upon. Christy mentioned a thing about Ben and his mom and how he killed her and stuff like that. And I mean, we could go into the whole like Oedipal thing and whatnot. I don't think it's necessary here, but there's a lot of very overt nods to characters killing their parents here, which again is a theme, is a theme, if not, like a plot point in a lot of like famous literature worldwide. But
right,
it didn't occur to me actually until I watched this episode that holy shit, like there are a lot of parents that die in Lost, like as the direct or indirect actions of their children.
Right.
And then
why don't you give us your best and worst moments?
So my best moment was Ben murdering his father, and then my worst.
Oh, that's right. Got it.
My worst moment, because honestly, like I mentioned before, I just didn't really care much for this episode, was actually Ben's birth. I thought it was really cliched and ham-fisted in a lot of different ways and stuff like that. So,
well, see, I thought the first scene was on the island at the very first.
Yeah, because you're supposed to.
Zooming in.
Yeah. Ben, what were your best and worst?
My best I had two. So one was just like the swing set scene with the little girl, like it was really cute, happy birthday Ben and all that. The other one was Ben killing his father. So two sides of the pendulum, I guess. For my least favorite was when Roger Workman was basically saying it's hard to celebrate your birthday since it's the day you killed your mother. That was just like fucker. Fuck.
That was my worst moment too.
Reap what you sow.
Yeah, but it was like every time he said it was kind of the worst.
Yeah.
I had an honorable mention best, which was the moment Locke throws his father on the ground at Ben's feet. I love that. But the purge, just kind of all of it, killing his dad and killing everybody, was the best moment. I loved it. I mean, it's genocide, so I shouldn't. But as far as like the plot of the story,
it tells you. Okay, now we know who these people are.
Yeah.
Sort of. We know who they're not.
It tells you who Ben is.
It tells you who Ben is. Exactly.
Christy, did you do your best and worst?
I did.
I thought so. We took a quick break, so I forgot for a second. Okay. Derek, what were your rankings?
This episode, Ben Linus was my favorite.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Don't worry. Anything we say for Ben, Christy's going to hold him down.
Yeah, she's going to negative.
Mm-hmm.
But I just liked in the whole episode, both young Ben, well, not annoying, whiny Ben, but, teenage Ben or 20-year-old Ben was good. Because he took care of his lousy-ass father. And then second was Saeed. I just liked him in this episode. And then third, I just put him in there, was Jacob. Don't know anything about him, but he seems to be a pretty badass character.
He's got your attention, huh?
He got my attention, definitely.
Yeah. All right.
Our worst is Roger. And then Locke. Because I don't know, he was just kind of grating on me this episode.
Wow. All right.
I don't know. I mean, the dick swinging time was good, but then he was kind of like I don't know. Just didn't want a fan of it.
He flies too close to the sun a lot.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna fuck Juliet. I mean, there really wasn't too many women, or females. So then I'm gonna kill Roger.
All right. Ben, how about you?
Top three, Locke. Character flaws aside, and the whining at the end, he was a good kind of dynamo for the episode. Like, and then Ben with him, because those two are just kind of dancing around like stags doing their thing, and that's basically the entire show. And then I put Annie in because with all of this other stuff that was going on, this show needed a bit of warmth. So that was a good character. At the bottom, just got Roger Workman. He's a piece of shit. I'm not going to kill anybody. There was enough killing already. I am going to fuck Alex again, but it's cool, y'all. I checked with Horace. He's totally cool with it.
Oh my
awesome.
God. Oh no. Oh God. Caleb, did you bring some rankings?
I did.
Did you have sex with any children?
She's 18.
We'll get there.
She's 16
That's what she
on
said.
the island.
So yeah,
Oh my
top three, I had Ben and Locke because obviously, and I will caveat that adult Ben and Locke because, the obviously the episode was very, very much just about the dynamic between the two of them and kind of moving their relationship in regards to kind of the overall story forward.
Yeah.
Once again,
And the power struggle.
Yeah, exactly. And there were some of them BDE moments, and and Locke really kind of pushing a power play onto Ben earlier on, as you guys noticed, which I thought was genius. My third top character was Juliet for reasons I'll get into in a minute, even though she's in this for like 5 seconds. Bottom three characters are Jack, Sawyer, and Saeed, just because it was just like,
why are you even in this?
Why are you even in this? Exactly. Ben, exactly.
Yeah.
Fuck is going to be Alex Rousseau because I would beat the brakes off of Tanya Raymond every goddamn day, all day, every day.
She is hot.
So the answer is yes, you're fucking some teenagers.
Yeah.
Jesus
But
Christ.
honorable mention is I would also fuck Juliet, and I will throw it out there that years ago when Christy and our friend Lauren and I watched this, I got a rack of shit for like 3 weeks straight because they said Juliet was very manly looking.
What?
Yes.
Really?
But I maintain.
There's a certain There's a specific thing that I can point out at a later date.
Nevertheless,
I remember her
haven't
from that show Revolution.
It's gonna be a
That's where I
secret.
first saw her.
Nevertheless,
Wow.
she gets the honorable mention. But yes, Alex Rousseau would yeah.
So
She's
Alex's
gorgeous.
actress was born March 1988. This episode was May 9th of 07. 19, perfectly legal.
Okay,
Which-
a few things.
Which is
First
kind
of all,
of
she's
gross, but
16
still
on the
like,
show.
yeah.
No. First of all, she's 16 on the show. Second of all, people in their 40s trying to date 19-year-olds is disgusting, and both of you fucking know it. Okay?
And third,
So
Because it never
was
happens.
cool. Horace was cool with it.
I would also
Horace said it was okay.
I would also
Oh my
like to
God.
point out that Alex Rousseau doesn't exist. She's not a real person.
Exactly.
So, along with the fuck category, in my opinion, goes like yes, if it could get weird, but like no, like whatever. But there's just
it'll get weird.
it'll get weird.
yeah.
But if
Christy.
Okay, my top three. I kind of smiled when Caleb gave his bottom three. My top three are Sawyer, Saeed, and then
Oh, wow.
Annie.
Okay.
I like Sawyer and Saeed.
Christy would bottom for them any day.
Bottom, Ben and Roger. I'm going to fuck Sawyer and Saeed because I like it when they work together.
Hello.
Oh,
And I am going to kill Ben because he is a fucking psychopath.
Oh my
Damn it.
God.
And all of you are fucking psychopaths.
What we call
You
a
think
good old
Ben
He's doing what he had to do
Worse
to
than Roger?
survive. If he wouldn't have
Yeah.
done this, he would have been dead.
Yeah, exactly. I have Ben Linus as number one this week.
I
Okay.
know,
Hell yeah.
because y'all are crazy people.
Locke, I have coming in second. He's been a badass, but he did still end up in a ditch. And I have Richard Alper in third because every time he shows up, he's more and more intriguing. And now apparently he doesn't age. So what's that about? Just kidding. I know, but Derek doesn't. In the worst, Roger, work, man. I hate you.
work, man.
That's it. I don't have a second or a third. I am going to be able, not going to be able, I am going to fuck Locke and Ben Linus. Jacob.
On that whole pit of dead people.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah, after he
No.
shot her before.
Yeah, why not?
That was not.
Or in the cabin with the dancing fallopian tubes.
I'm gonna make Jacob and his dancing fallopian tubes watch while I get banged. I am going to
Hot.
kill Horace's haircut.
That's fair.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay
Yeah.
with that.
I mean, to be
that's
fair,
what's going.
You mean his child lure?
yeah.
Oh God.
I have Kill as Duck Hutchinson, not Horace, like the actor that plays
That's
him.
it.
like,
Uh-huh,
legit,
uh-huh.
like, let's just one less asshole in the world.
Exactly.
Today, so
Yeah. All right. Ben,
Yeah.
what do the rankings look like after 20 episodes of season 3?
Well, we have Sawyer somehow extending his lead in this episode to 123 points.
Whoa.
Juliet,
That's all am I doing, baby.
The fucking, yeah.
yeah, women can't seem to get them, get off of daddy there. Like, it's just
Oh, boy.
ridiculous.
Gross.
Since we're talking parasite and every other thing today. Yeah, Juliet in second place with 113, and then Hurley in third with 110.
Can't
Wow.
get Ben to crack that top three. Damn it.
I'm just going to say
Nope.
Danny, Paolo, Charles Woodmore, because that's not changing.
wait,
Okay.
who are we trying to get to crack the top three, Derek?
Ben.
Ben.
Okay.
Ben Linus. Yes.
Yeah,
Not
that's
Charles
surprising.
Widmore. Anthony
See, when he
Cooper.
first came out, I couldn't stand him. I was like Christy, but he grew on me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's surprising. Yeah.
The bottom three is not Charles Widmore. It's Danny, Paolo,
Anthony Cooper.
and Mr.
You were
Cooper.
right.
Cooper.
Mr.
Yep.
Cooper.
Oops. Thank
We
God.
killed him multiple times last week.
Christy, thank God you were here.
I know, right?
Seriously.
I know.
Yeah.
How did this
All right.
episode get a 9.2 on IMDb? By the way,
A 9.2?
9.2
Because
on
you didn't
IMDb.
vote in it?
I
Yeah,
did actually. I gave it a 7.
0.4.
that's about right.
All right. Well, let's talk about that. Caleb, give us your final impressions of this episode.
It's an important episode for a few reasons. I think it look, flashbacks serve a very good purpose, and Lost has a tendency to use them well, but also use them not well. If you have a story to tell the story. It doesn't, like, if you have to rely upon flashbacks excessively, then you're not doing a good job of telling your story, in my opinion.
But the whole show is all like,
I understand that,
Yeah.
but in terms of a 5-6 season, 100 and how many episode thing, that's one thing. But in the manner of 48 minutes, which likely at the time was the combined total of airtime you're getting, Vice commercials and stuff like that. When you have 6 flashbacks, within those 42 minutes, you're doing a disservice to your audience, in my opinion. Tell a story, and sure, 1 or 2 flashbacks are great. 3, if you can justify it. I would honestly say even 2 if you can justify it. But tell your story. If you have to rely on constantly saying, yeah, but, or hey, this also happened. One of the things that I hate about
excessive exposition.
Yeah. One of the things I hate about storytellers, particularly amateur storytellers, is that a lot of them will say, okay, well, blah, 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 blah. Oh, but wait, I forgot to tell you this. And that's exactly what's happening in a lot of these situations, because it creates a certain atmosphere of disingenuity, in my opinion. Tell the story well. You can do it. You've got a stock of good writers here. I legit think, though, that the people involved with this are really having some issues with their parents, considering how many of them parents they kill in this. But oddly enough, despite every time we see young Ben crying and interacting with his dad, I felt that this episode was just trying to center him in terms of character and emotion. It felt very bereft to me when they went back to him as a kid. It just feels like it's handled better in other episodes, and I thought it was full of a lot of cliches. Granted, it's been a long time since I've watched all of Lost, and I remember really liking this episode the first time. This is probably only the second and third time I've watched this, and it like fell off a cliff for me.
See, I think they do that on purpose when they add in a lot and they go quickly back and forth from flashback to the present. Is typically in that episode where they're trying to make you uncomfortable.
But it's too jarring, though, in my opinion. It gets old.
See, I like it.
No. Like, my point is simply that, again, 1, 2, 3 flashbacks, if you can justify them, are fine. But it gets old in any movie, any TV show, anything you watch in one episode. If you flip back and forth that quickly,
I just don't think so. I like it. I really do.
There was that whole episode of Saeed when we found out that he was part of the Republican Guard, where it was just nothing but flashback after flashback after flashback.
And the Desmond episode that I did was just a complete flashback.
But maybe it's a hindsight thing. Again, I've only gone through the series once in its entirety, so it might be a hindsight thing.
But numerically, you said 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10, I think, because again, collectively the performances are always good. Terry Quinn always does a solid job of Locke, and it's fun to watch him, even when he's groveling. I can't remember his name, but the gentleman that plays Ben Linus, solid.
Michael Emerson.
Thank you, Mike. Yes, Michael Emerson, solid. And between the two of them, they actually do have fairly good chemistry. So in the scenes, it does make it difficult to look away. But again, when I kind of break it all down in my head, it like I said, I oscillate between what greater purpose does any of this serve, and does any of this matter?
I still enjoyed the fuck out of it. You enjoyed it like a car crash, as long as you didn't look too closely. It was entertaining. Ben, what about you? You seem to agree with Caleb a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree that I remember when I first watched this episode, I thought it was really, really great. And watching it this time, I didn't have the same experience. I think it might have been because I had just watched The Brig, and The Brig is a really cool episode. And then this one felt like, okay, there was sort of a reveal, but it felt like it was showing the corner of the card. Like, I just didn't, I didn't have that sense of motion in this one. And I think a lot of it just had to do with the fact that it spent so much time in flashbacks that I could never really I never really got into the story in the present.
So you don't like that either.
I mean, I do like the way that I like the way that that Locke is sort of just like, oh, big dick man or whatever, and like he's going to go right at his target, and like I appreciate him when he's in that mode, especially with Ben Linus, because he's a counterpuncher and he's always kind of he's aggressive, but he lets you come to him in that way. And I didn't really like the entire scene with Jacob. To be honest, I thought it was kind of dumb.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy it. I mean, it was creepy, the whole help me thing. Like that was cool. All in all, it was, I guess it was an episode that I was entertained by, but it was not nearly as good as I remember the first time I saw it.
Wow. Okay. Well, I loved it. I've loved it every time I've watched it. I think it's fucking great. I think Locke is like awesome in the episode, taunting Ben. Ben, of course, is always a step ahead. I love that. I like how Ben doesn't really it appears since he was a child, let his morals get in the way of his accomplishments, if he has any morals, I guess. But that's why I love his character. I think that I like a lot of flashbacks. I don't know. I disagree. I understand all of the points that you both make, but I personally enjoy it. I like that we find out, that Ben's story isn't what we thought it was. I like the parallels between he and the man behind the curtain from The Wizard of Oz. I love how the writers tend to write in, parallels from their favorite stories. I really liked the episode. I think The Purge was great. I think with Richard Alpert, like, the fuck is going on there? That is intriguing. And, now that we know that Ben is like officially hostile and there really is no Dharma, I liked all of those reveals. What about you, Christy?
So I almost feel like I'm watching a lot of these for the first time again, because I've totally forgotten what is going to happen from episode to episode. So I'm like, what the fuck is happening in the cabin? Ben is a psychopath. Locke might be regretting some of his choices at this point. What the fuck is going on with Jack and Juliet? How did Dirty Richard become a doctor? And the Dharma Initiative really are all dead, and the hostiles have taken over. So I have so many questions going forward. So yeah, I have a little bit of a better idea of what's going on than Derek does, but I'm still very, very confused. So.
All right, well, let's hear what Derek has to say. This has been a controversial episode amongst this group. What do you think of the man behind the curtain, Derek? And did it
shitty writing aside and all those horrible flashbacks? No, I'm kidding. No, I really like this episode. Maybe because it is my first true time watching it. Maybe in 10 years if I watch it again, I'll think it sucks. But I like it now because we find out that the Dharma Initiative is no more, and it was actually the hostiles that took over. And I don't think Ben Linus is a psychopath. He just did what he did to survive. It even involves having to gas an entire population. Well, not population. It was like a group. It wasn't like
small population.
It was their population.
It was their population. And we did find out he wasn't really born on the island, and was brought there by his father, who blamed him for his mother's death, and he got the death he deserved. We did catch a glimpse of Jacob, and unless if he's real or not. And so,
what do you think? Do you think there's a real Jacob, or is it tricks?
I think so, because they showed you a flash,
Okay.
And just the fact that. So, anyways, my biggest questions, I have just two of them. I mean, I have a lot more, but these are the biggest ones: is who or what is Jacob, and how the hell is Richard Alpert there 30 years before the crash? Like, not aging.
Yeah. Well, you are in luck. Both of those questions will be
Jacob
answered.
Loves you.
Yeah.
Jacob does love you. It's going to take a little while, but you will have those answers before the show is over. All right, guys, I want to say thanks again to Caleb for coming here and hating children. And the
No,
episode.
just one.
And
No, it's all of them, Derek. It's all of them.
Oh, okay.
Well, you didn't hate the one that you banged.
Oh!
19.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
You're right. Just all the other ones.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Mm.
You okay? Are you going to recover from that,
That
Caleb?
was in D&D terms. I just took some psychic damage.
There you go. All right.
I just saw an
I'll tell you
advertisement
what.
they have a D&D movie coming out.
We could talk
We're
about
gonna-
it. Yeah, Michelle Rodriguez is in it. Yeah, so
No shit.
yeah,
Ah,
plays a barbarian.
That's
All right.
kind of amazing.
now
All
they
right.
one of Christy's favorite people.
Which is why I'm going to
Listen,
make her watch
Caleb.
it.
We're going to let you go rest your weary legs. And maybe you can build up a good roll and come back in season 4 and get Christy back for that epic burn. But for now, we would like to say thank you for being here. We always appreciate your commentary. And we're glad that you came back. All right?
Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Caleb.
Love you, babe.
Good seeing everybody. Derek, it was good seeing
Thanks,
you.
Caleb.
Yeah.
Good seeing you, man.
Next week, it's my last episode as a presenter. The seasons are getting shorter, and we have a few other fun things planned for seasons 4, 5, and 6. So I will just be your regular old host like I do every other episode. And for my last presentation, I'm taking Charlie, obviously, defend my little hobbit friend until the end. So it's going to be season 3, episode 21. It's called Greatest Hits, and You All Everybody is back. So get ready for that
Ears
hit.
are bleeding. Sonic fence.
Thanks again for being here, Caleb. We're going to take our bleeding ears and go home. We'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye bye.
See ya.
Later.
Lost in My 40s is a Spacebear Media production. Executive produced and edited by me, Lacy J. Sound engineering, editing, and original music by Benjamin Trimp. Like and follow Lost in My 40s on Facebook to interact with your hosts. Plus, follow Spacebear Media on YouTube to watch our episode pre-shows. You can also find us at Spacebear_media on Instagram and Twitter. Or come to our website, spacebearmedia.com.